Well, this is the living legend, Jimmy Cliff, with the Mightycrown.
Mightycrown for Irish Cooler.
Yo, this is Mightycrown for Irish.
はい、ということで、Mightycrown.com ご覧の皆さん、はい、おいらのインタビューシリーズですけど、今回はですね、今、ジャマイカで今人気のプロデューサーチームを今回紹介したいと思います。で、彼らが、CHIMNEY レコードでございますね。はい、ということで、welcome to, Mightycrown.com, Mightycrown TV. We got CHIMNEY in the building, CHIMNEY Records, who's bossing up enough wicked song on the road right now. Can you guys introduce yourself real quick? Like,
I'm Jordan, and this is Izu. You know, we're production duo together. We're CHIMNEY Records.
You guys are brothers or blood brothers or cousins?
Long-time friends from like high school time, long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody thinks that we're brothers for some reason. I mean, I don't think we look alike, you know.
Yeah. Can I know some of your backgrounds first? Like, where you guys born and
well,
yeah, basic stuff like.
Both of us basically grew up in Kingston 6, which is Kingston. I mean, rural area. No, I mean urban, not rural. What am I talking about?
Yeah, in the city.
Yeah, we both went to the Campion College, and we both have classical training in piano. And, you know,
Okay.
Yeah, but it was in high school that we first started, you know, listening to dancehall hard, you know. We used to listen to the radio enough, in like what, third form or so is when we started listening.
Great night.
Okay.
Yeah, and keeping up with what's coming up, what's new. You know, we used to make mixtape off the radio and thing and listen and update it, you know, as new things come out.
Okay.
So yeah, from them time that was from about maybe 98 or so.
So that's when you guys were in high school, right?
Yeah, man.
So that's when you really get the music.
Yeah, that's how we really became fans of the dance side.
Okay, so that's how you got involved, like.
Well, we didn't get involved till much later.
Much later.
Yeah.
You guys have like a family background, like, you know, like like how would I say it? Yeah, like musicians in the family or
no, not me.
No, like a musician background.
Not at all. It's just, I mean, from where we were young, as I said, our parents both put us in music school from we were young, and you know, we just from our love of dancehall, we just kind of got into it and started messing around with recruiting and. You know.
Okay. So when you guys really started off, like as CHIMNEY Records, what kind of made you guys say, all right, we're gonna do this now?
Well, he's a man who him love mess around with computer and all kind of thing, and, you know. He got, what was it, Fruity Loops from back in the day, and he start mess around with rhythms and 1 and 2 rhythms, and I used to take them and DJ and them, and, you know, just had some joking thing, and eventually we were getting better and better, and he used to teach me how to use the software too, and the two of us start messing around with rhythms and thing, you know. And eventually I was just like, yo, let's try to take it serious, let's try to get some artist voice, and you know, our things sound good, so you know, let's try and make a career out of it, and that was around when 07.
Well, 07 you could say really started.
Taking it serious.
2007.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first song? Well, like, remember like the first time you ever like start produce stuff? You remember?
First thing we ever put out?
Yeah.
Or, the first rhythm we ever put out was a rhythm called Natural Disaster, which never played anywhere.
Yeah, you know, understandably.
Whenever I have no connections.
Yeah.
But I mean, we had at that point we make a link with Deli Ranks, you know, who carried us around to various artists. We voiced Deli on that rhythm. We had we got a link to Cartel on that rhythm. Sizzler was on that rhythm too. And I mean, after that, you know, go around and make links with the artists, and we're doing a lot of work with Deli at the time. Shoot a rhythm and Gangsta Prayer rhythm and Cherry rhythm, you know. So just by working with Deli, we kind of learn the industry and learn. You know,
so Deli was your connect then.
Yeah, basically. So you have to big up Deli all the way.
2007, you guys really started off, right, as a CHIMNEY production. you from them time there till now, what is like? You guys have like one of the most memorable moment like producing.
What's yours?
I don't know, there's so many memorable moments, man.
Is there anyone that will come up like, yo,
I mean,
there was
this one night at the studio. I mean, like nights at the studio, sometimes you'll have like really entertaining nights. And there's this one night we're at the studio partying in Stein, and boy, that night was just full of laughing, like laugh to the belly hurt.
Like Stein out the road and run down car and all kind of.
Yeah, we literally like out on the sidewalk, and all of a sudden, you know, like we're just there talking, and then all of a sudden him just turn around and run off that car. Like, yo, I'm pretending to run them down.
Yeah, so anyway, I think for me now, my most memorable moment is, I think I said this in an interview before too. You know, as youngsters, you have certain artists where you look up to. You know, Beanie and Multi was our artists back in that time. And my most memorable moment was the first time Bounty Killer came to our studio to actually work with us, you know. Because as an artist that I've been looking up to since I was a little youth, you know what I mean? Actually getting to work with him and seeing that he's showing interest and like our things enough to come and work with us, I think that's definitely, I would say, is one of my most memorable moments.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's like you know, because when you
it's like a milestone.
It's like a dream come true.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny too because that track that he was voicing was a tune with Stein, right? Yeah. And I remember seeing sometime after we released that song, we are Bust the Biggest Rapper Road. Yeah, I remember seeing a video on the internet in Japan, and people were dancing to it. I was like, yo, how do you know the song? How we didn't even realize that the music was traveling so far from them time, and it was just amazing. Like, oh, look at the Japanese people dancing to the song.
Yeah. How is that feeling? Like you know your song get played like in a dance and you get that feedback.
And to see people vibing to it and enjoying themselves is the best. So that's the most rewarding thing.
And it doesn't change, you know. I mean, even now we've gotten so many different songs that play and people love, and you know, every time for me when I hear it play on the radio, I see it doing the same thing that we were just talking about in a dance, like people reacting to it, and it's still the same feeling over and over every time, you know. I mean, it's just as exciting, and you know.
Yeah, I guess that's the joy of it, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Like, okay, my next question is, but people in the industry kind of, you know, balance and say like music now make no money, and you know, the negative side of it, and be like, well, reality of it is like we're not really making no money, like really like you know, unless you get like a crazy hit, I guess. But what can you like tell like the youth them like who wants to become like Chimney and you know want to make some hit records like Chimney, you know, some uplifting, you know, how would I say, like hope for the future, how would I say?
Well, we kind of started out as the golden age, you know, of the big money for our rhythm was trailing off, so we never really experienced, you know, getting a big fat paycheck for our rhythm like how it used to work before. But basically, you know, my advice to anybody that's trying to start out in the production thing or looking to pursue that is you really have to have the love for it first of all, because that's going to be what keeps you going through the inevitable down times, because you can have up and down.
Yeah, you have to endure a whole heap of down times. So we did too, you know, when we were just starting for the first couple of years. It's just, you know, sometimes we want to give up, sometimes just like, why are we fighting for this so much? You know, we're doing it every day, and you know, we're just gonna get a 9 to 5 and get enough more money, you know what I mean? But it's just the love of it that really kept us going. And
what's one of the stuff that kind of makes you say like, yo man, fuck with this, man, like, you know, like is it like the artist flex, or sometimes the artist give you troubles, or is it more time like certain?
Sometimes, I mean, it's artists, but I mean, it's people, you know what I mean? You're going to have problems with people in the industry, you know what I mean? You're just going to have to learn how to deal with it. So, yeah, I mean, people, sometimes you have some trouble people. We do a lot of mixing for people as well. Okay. So, I mean, sometimes that gets kind of frustrating. And I mean, I mean, we're perfectionists, so you know, with the mixing is kind of, it's hard. Sometimes you don't get exactly where you want to get with a mix, and it's very frustrating sometimes. Or sometimes you think it's perfect, you're mixing for somebody else, and then you give it to them, and they're like, "What is this?" You know. So it's kind of frustrating, you know what I mean? So
and it's unlikely that any one person starting out is immediately going to get that hit, and then boss and they're just up there forever, you know. So, you know, another part of it is to try and just maximize your quality of production, try and maximize how much you promote each record, you know, just try and make it as good as possible, even if it's not going to sell, even if your first couple of releases not sell a whole lot, you know, you want to keep that standard and try improve all the time, because we always try and improve the sound, improve, you know, like
quality,
the way we release, how we can promote it, you know, maximize and just try and get that as good as possible every time.
I see. Is there any artist that you guys want to work with, like in the future, you haven't worked with yet? You probably work with enough artists already, but is there anyone like you haven't worked with, like, I want to produce one song off of Ivar?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like, right now we're actually talking to a couple of the soca artists to look to maybe work with them.
That's a different approach.
Yeah, I mean, but in terms of reggae and dancehall, we're really grateful for the fact that we've actually been able to work with most of who intended to work with in the first place.
You're the top artist.
Yeah, I mean, even the up and coming ones too, because you have some really talented up and coming artists, which is why they become big artists.
Yeah.
Out in the long run.
That's true. As one of the top producers in the business, right? What do you guys think the business is missing right now? What is your aspect of like holding up back? Let's say, like, you know, a lot of people say like reggae is not in the line or one variety.
Listen, I mean, what I think it's missing sometimes is a level of professionalism. Yeah, that's you know, sometimes music in Jamaica, the dancehall reggae industry kind of act like a party shop business kind of thing, you know? Where like, I don't know. I don't really know. If I knew the solution, I would have fixed it already. You know what I mean? So I really don't know what to say regarding that. But I think maybe people can be a little more professional.
Yeah, like I've been interviewing a couple of people and like I'm asking the same question and basically the same answers coming up. Like professionality, I guess is missing more, like, you know, the form of like production, you know, the form of, I don't know.
Formality.
Yeah, the formality, you know. What's next for Chimney?
Well, you know, we have several projects working on right now. We have reggae projects coming up, some more dancehall. You know, we have our artist Zaga. So this year we're looking to do an EP with him with all original tracks, you know, some fresh stuff to really showcase what he's capable of.
Okay.
You know?
We're pushing him more in the reggae direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, we have almost 12 songs recorded for that already.
Zaga.
So, yeah, we're just going to pick the best ones out of, you know, maybe do like 20 or 30 tracks and pick the best like 10 or so and put out an EP.
Yeah, so we're trying to do that this year. Also, you know, we've always, you know, in interviews spoken about the fact that we listen to so many genres and we're not really like closed off and only listen to dancehall and reggae and nothing else, you know. So we always get influenced by other genres, which is why our music, you know, you would say it's kind of, you know. So we're actually experimenting with some new kind of sounds, some new influences, you know. The kind of stuff is, it's like genre bending, you know. Yeah, so we retain the dancehall, the Jamaican core, but then we're extending off and trying to explore some new areas with it too. So that's pretty exciting to look out for that.
So enough more projects coming out.
Yeah, man, very soon too. Very soon. We have only for them recorded already.
Thanks for your time. One last message to your fans them and you know, where people can look up the Chimney Records?
Yeah, I mean, you can log on Facebook.com/Chimney Records, Twitter.com/Chimney Records, or at Chimney Records.
Google Chimney Records.
Yeah, you could Google Chimney Records. So I mean, it's all
Hopefully
there.
something will come up, you know.
Yeah, but you know, just keep looking out for music. We always try and deliver the best that we possibly can. And
Always try to innovate.
always try to innovate, and it's the most rewarding thing when we see people enjoy the music. So big up to all the fans out there. Respect all the supporters.
はい、ということで今回はジャマイカからスーパープロデューサーチームチムニーレコードでした。それでは We're out!